Hello and welcome to Teal House Farm. Today, Nanny Banani and I are going to give you a tour of my cast iron collection. So while I don't have the size cast iron collection that you might see on some channels, what I do have is quite a bit of cast iron for a very small kitchen because cast iron is my preferred cooking and baking instrument. It's awesome. And if you are overwhelmed by the idea of cast iron, mostly because the cleaning instructions maybe have you scratching your head a little bit, I'm going to put up a video tomorrow on very basic cast iron care, and I'm actually going to show you 3 different cooking whoopsie scenario type things so that you could feel confident using and cleaning cast iron in your daily life. So I'm going to show you what we have. I consider this the cast iron essentials set. I don't have anything like extra or things that really only have one use because, as you guys know, we don't have a very big kitchen and I have 0 storage space in this old house because there aren't closets, so we keep only what we need. And so let me show you what I have.
Let's start small.
Okay, the smallest pan is this single egg McMuffin pan, and this one actually came in a baking set somebody gave me. It was like a fun thing that had like mixes in it and things to try with this pan. I will see if I can find this by itself so you can buy it individually, but it's only about, I'd say about 3.5 to 4 inches across. And I use this specifically for frying eggs for, like, if I'm making myself an egg sandwich. It's tiny, it's so light, it makes it really easy to just, you use it, it's fast to clean because it's tiny, and so it's just kind of a fun little pan. It's kind of heavy, you got it? They get heavy fast, you gotta be careful. This one is my pie plate, but I actually don't use it just for pies. This is can also be used as a medium size, there you go, saute pan. So I use this a lot for roasting potatoes or for making sausage gravy because it's got nice tall sides and it's just the perfect size to fit on our burners. So sometimes with cast iron you think outside a box a little bit because everything that's cast iron is both stovetop and oven safe. So you can use what's meant for baking a pie as a saucepan or a fry pan on top of your stove as well. But it does also work great for making pies, and I do like it for making pies as well, specifically because it's deeper than I think most of the cheaper pie plates that you might get, you know, like the non-stick ones at the store. It's a little bit taller and deeper, which lets you make like a Dutch apple pie, like a real thick and yummy pie. Okay, next one. This one is actually called a drop biscuit pan, so I use it for that, for making drop biscuits. But it's also great for making mini egg quiches or mini egg muffins. And my favorite thing to make in this, and I believe I have a video of the recipe, which I'll link below, is a cranberry black walnut coffee cake. So in the fall, when our black walnut trees are dropping all those giant killer gumball things, the girls like to harvest them and they smash them for me, and then we use those black walnuts as well as cranberries because cranberries are in season around October, and just make these little coffee cake muffins with some streusel on top, and they are so good. I like that these compartments are larger than a muffin tin because it makes it easier to clean. I have 2 cast iron bread loaf pans which I use multiple times a week. Banana bread, white bread, really any kind of bread. These are great, and I have 2 of them because the size of our family, I always make at least a double batch of something. I probably need more, like 3 or 4 of these, but 2 is what I have space to store. A lot of people like to use paper liners with these, got it, to make the cleanup easier. I have never tried that just because we try not to buy disposable products because it's an expense that is unnecessary. But I will say, cleaning these, if you get any bread that really gets, maybe you overcook it a bit and it gets stuck on the seams, is kind of a pain because it's hard to get in there and really scrub. So I could see how those paper liners would be useful. Okay, we're gonna finish up this row because we've almost got everything in this first row. And this is my favorite pan. It's so much my favorite that I have 2 of them. It's the only one that I have a duplicate of. The reason I have a duplicate is mostly because, I think I got it 2 years ago, I got the second one, is because of the size of our family. If I do something like fry fish or fry chicken or bake pork chops, they don't all fit in one pan anymore, so I have identical sized pans. I use this multiple times a day, every day, for everything. I like that it's a little bit deeper. It's also the perfect size. I believe these are 10 inches It's the perfect size for so many things that you can bake or cook on a stovetop, even frying multiple eggs, scrambling eggs for our large family. I use them all the time. And I don't have ones bigger than this, so they come bigger than this. You can get giant cast iron like woks in 12-inch or 14-inch pans. The problem is, if you're like us and you have a stovetop that has the raised burners, if you know what I'm talking about, it's got the drip pan and the raised burner, the weight of the larger pans actually might break your burner. It causes them to become uneven, and then you have to buy new burner coils. You know, it's an extra expense. Also, if they're really wide with those burner coils, you don't get enough heat on the outside edge, and so things don't cook evenly. So this is the largest pan I have, and it's really the largest pan that I want as far as fry pans go, because I don't think the other ones are going to be practical for both our stovetop and also just as far as their weight would be. I do have a couple pans that are generally larger, like this Dutch oven. Annie, you want to take the lid off? It's nice and deep too, which is great. And I use this for roasting a whole chicken. I make chicken and dumplings in it. It's great for if you make sourdough bread, you make a nice sized loaf in there. But I don't use this one nearly as often as I use my other pans, but I'm very glad that I have it. And I do use it frequently. This is the only pan that I have to store in a cabinet because it's too heavy to hang on my pan pegboard, which I'll show you in a minute. The rest of the pans get hung up in our kitchen. And then the other larger pan I have is this Griddle, which you can see has been really well used. We use this for making pancakes. I use it for making grilled cheese a lot because I can do 6 at a time. Making French toast, or we call them eggs in a hole. Some people call them eggs in a basket. And the reverse side I sometimes use for grilling. The reverse side is grill, but this reverse side, you see, it really needs to be seasoned. I rarely use this side because it is the worst pain ever to clean. I hate it, and so I will do about anything to not have to use that reverse side, which is why it's not very well taken care of. But if you are a more patient person than I am and don't mind that cleaning of that grill side, it is pretty neat. It does make some great grilled, I've done bratwurst, fish, chicken on it before. It really does a good job mimicking that outside grill texture and taste. All right, finishing up, we basically have 3 sized pans here for frying and sauteing. So this is my medium sized one. So this is tiny, Mr. Tiny next to it. Medium size, large size. I believe this is 6 inches. I love that it has pour spouts, and I like on all of these cast iron pans, you get more depth than you do on a traditional fry pan, I feel like. This one, Ivy there likes to use for frying eggs. She likes to make herself an egg in the morning. It's good for anything that you're doing for a couple of people. I might grill a couple chicken breasts if we're gonna have cut up chicken breasts on salad or something like that. This pan is a shallow stir fry pan. I don't use it quite as much as the other ones because it is shallow, and that means you have to be careful about volume up, but it is handy to have. And they're actually, the only reason I have this pan is because I wanted that one, and they came as a set, and I will link that set below. Almost every cast iron pan I have here is a Lodge cast iron, but these 2 are an Amazon basic set. And honestly, this may seem like homesteading heresy, but I don't notice the difference. They're a little bit lighter, I could say, than the Lodge cast iron, which for somebody who doesn't want to lift a hefty pot, that actually might be a good thing. That should mean that the quality isn't as good because they're lighter, but I have had 0 problems with these pans. Probably had them 5 or 6 years, these Amazon basics. So I give them my hearty recommendation, just like I would a Lodge cast iron product. This one is a nice deep, I think it's considered a saucepan. The only negative is it didn't come with a lid, but it's the same size as my stainless steel pots. So the lid for my stainless steel pots fits on this one. I'll use this for making sausage gravy. This is great for making stews when you don't need to make that size of a pot of stew. Things for like beef and gravy tips on toast, things like that. This is the perfect size pan for that. And I love how it's super deep but because it's not as deep as this one, it does not weigh the whatever this is. This has got to be 30 pounds. It's an incredibly heavy pot. It weighs about half as much, so it's much easier to lift and get on the stove. So there they are. Thank you, Nanny, for being my assistant. Those are my cast iron pans. Maybe you'll see something there that would be neat to have in your kitchen. And again, these, with the exception of that one giant heavy pot, all hang on a pegboard. My husband hung up this double pegboard when we moved here about 7-8 years ago, and it's held up great under even all that cast iron weight and all my other pots and things, and it keeps things out of cabinets because I don't have a lot of cabinets because it's a tiny old farmhouse kitchen. So it's just a pegboard, and these hooks are removable, so I can move them around depending what size pan I'm needing to hang. And we got these in a pack at the hardware store, and they all hold great. They don't fall out under the weight of the pans, and the boards hold up great under the weight of the pans. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you all next time.
Bye.